you're watching Gearz, brought to you by Holley Performance Products. Fuel your passion. And Cornwell Tools, the choice of professionals.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. You know, one question that we get a lot is, what would be a good project vehicle to pick up that's going to be fun, fairly easy to build, and won't cost a fortune? Well, the answer might surprise you, because for the longest time, the 30s, 40s, and 50s cars were the hot ticket. And this was brought on by the hot rod craze that started in the early 70s by two very influential cars, the American Graffiti Deuce Coupe and the California Kid 34 three-window. These two cars helped usher in the street rod era that continues to this day. But ironically, hot rods are not at the top of the heap anymore. Today, muscle cars, classic trucks, and even late model sports cars are far more popular to pick up as a project than an old classic hot rod. And that is good news for you, because that means that there's thousands of these things in barns and garages across the nation waiting for you to pick one up cheap, because most of them are in pieces, most of them don't run because people have lost interest. For example, this is a 53 Henry J that's all there and virtually rust-free and would make a great original restoration, a street machine, or a gasser project. On the flip side, this is a 1940 Chevy Coupe, and it's also pretty much rust-free. But as you can see, somebody's already started on this thing. The drivetrain's gone, the interior's gutted, it's full of a bunch of parts, who knows what, meaning this is the perfect project to turn into a hot rod. So that's what we're gonna do with it. We're gonna build this a vintage style hot rod in the flavor of that old California Kid car that's gonna be fun, fast, loud, reliable, and oh, so cool. Okay, when it comes to hot rods, everybody has their own idea of what one is. And when I put that question to a bunch of car building friends of mine, their answers were as varied as their building styles.
I make a distinction in my mind between a street rod and a hot rod. And a street rod's about style, but a hot rod's about power.
Or does it have to be a V8?
No, it doesn't have to be a V8.
V8 302 Ford.
Okay.
Late models, C4 automatic transmission.
When I see a car with either 5 spokes or Hellebrands or something like that on it, that screams hot rod to me.
Yeah.
You start with the wheels,
Okay.
right? Then you want to start with the color of the car.
Okay.
I don't see any creature comforts in a hot rod.
However, there is one thing we all agree on. A true hot rod has got to have a hot engine.
But a hot rod's about power, so it's got to have a healthy motor to it.
It seems clear to me that a hot rod has to have a large engine and lightweight. Obviously V8.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter what Chevy, Ford, doesn't matter.
Number one engine.
Okay.
You need horsepower.
Need horsepower.
You gotta have horsepower.
All right, since we all agree that the engine is the focal point of any real hot rod project, that's where we're going to start. And as you can see, there's all kinds of options out there. Ford, Chevy, Dodge, you name it. But since this is a Chevy, and we're going after that early 70s hot rod look, we're going to stay away from the LS. We're going to go with a brand new small block Chevy. Then we're going to pack it with as many vintage speed parts as possible, just like it would have been done back in the day. Now, you're probably thinking, well, where are you going to get a brand new small block Chevy? Well, check it out. This is a high-performance 400 long block crate engine from Blueprint Engines. Now, it starts out life as a brand new cast iron 4-bolt main block. Then it's packed with the good stuff, like a forged crank, rods, and pistons for superior strength in the bottom end. Then on top, they bolt on their special aluminum heads and finish it off with a roller cam, roller rockers, and screw-in studs and guide plates to fill out a bulletproof top end. The result is 500 horsepower and 510 foot-pounds on pump gas. Yeah, this isn't your dad's small block Chevy. And if a GM motor isn't your thing, Blueprint also builds many different sizes and configurations of Ford and Mopar engines as well. And Blueprint engines come with a 30-month, 50,000-mile warranty, and they're dynoed before they leave the factory, so you know exactly what you're getting. Now, most people will go ahead and top an engine like this with an aluminum intake and 4-barrel carb and some chrome valve covers. And obviously, Blueprint Engines offers all of this stuff. But this just doesn't scream hot rod to me. This says street rod. And the whole reason we went with a long block instead of a fully dressed crate engine is that we want that engine to be very unique for this car. So we got to put the right parts on it. And nothing screams hot rod like multiple carburetors. Now, obviously, 6 2-barrels on the drag strip was awesome. Not so good on the street. The magic number on the street were 3 carburetors. But we can do a lot better than these old classic Rochesters. Take a look. This is the Holley Tri-Power for the small block Chevy, and this is based off of the legendary Tri-Power that you could get on the 427 Vets and the 6-pack Mopars back in the day. Now, it starts with a YN aluminum intake that then mounts 3 Holley 2-barrels in line, and it is a tight fit. Then it also has 3 air cleaners. You get progressive linkage, and you even get the fuel line. So everything that you need is here. Now, the way this works, the center carburetor has the electric choke, and it's 325 CFM, and that's what you run on when you're just tooling around. So right there. Then when you're feeling nasty, you kick it open. That opens the 2 outer carburetors that are 350 CFM each. So that gives you over 1,000 CFM. That's enough to drain your fuel tank and smoke your tires into oblivion, which is a hot rod setup. Now, if you're going to run this system, there's some more stuff that you need. You also need to pick up the gaskets, the hardware, the thermostat housing, and the hose fittings, because those don't come in the kit.
In a world of economic uncertainty, there will always be a need for quality tools and people who can use them. That's why becoming a Cornwell tool dealer is one of the best career moves you can make. With routes available all across the nation, it's a great way to be your own boss, supply high-quality tools to professionals, and make some real money. If you're tired of working for someone else, have the drive to succeed, and want a career that can be successful no matter what happens on Wall Street, there's a Cornwell tool truck with your name on the side.
Hey, welcome back to Gearz, where we are digging into the roots of hot rodding and putting together an engine for this 40 Chevy Coupe project that's going to pay tribute to some of the most iconic names and products that built this industry. Now, so far, we have a 500-horse small block Chevy with a Holley Tri-Power sitting on it. Yeah, that's old school. But as you can see, we don't have a lot of room back here to mount the traditional HEI distributor. So we're going to solve that problem next. This is the MSD Pro Billet ready-to-run distributor and plug wires. Now, the first thing you notice is it's got the smaller cap on it, so that'll actually fit behind those carburetors. But it still has plenty of power to ignite all the fuel that you're going to throw at it. Now, you can set it up as mechanical advance or vacuum advance, and the best part is you don't have to run an auxiliary ignition box to power this. It's all built in. Matter of fact, you drop this in place, you hook up 3 wires, and you're ready to roll. And that black finish makes it look OEM, which is pretty sneaky. Sounds like a good hot rod distributor to me. All right, now we come to the part that completely sets the look and the attitude of a hot rod engine, and that is the valve covers. You think I'm kidding? Check this out. Yeah, the right valve covers will take an engine from average to hot rod in just a few seconds. But if you're going after this early hot rod racing look, you got some work to do, because they don't come out of the box looking like this. You either need to find them at a swap meet or you need to make your own. Here's how to make your own. First, we'll start with some Edelbrock classic fin valve covers and their tall aluminum breathers. Then we'll mark where we're going to mount the breathers. Next, remove any offending fins. Then smooth everything out with a needle nose grinder. Finally, drill your holes and mount the breather. Now we're talking. Man, the look, the fins, those breathers, they match the carburetors and the air cleaners perfectly. And this, man, this just screams hot rod. Okay, with the engine laid out, what about the transmission? Well, once again, most people agree that a true hot rod has got to have a stick behind it.
Always a stick.
Stick.
A stick in a hot rod. Has to.
Fortunately, the aftermarket has a great option for that with this Tremec TKX 5-speed. Yeah. Now, the fact that this has 5 gears is great because it'll give us a great launch off the line for the track and also a great top end for when we're running down the highway. But this thing is also strong. It'll handle 600 foot-pounds, and it will also shift at 8,000 RPMs if your engine will crank that high. Also, it's got special synchronizers and gears that will allow it to make those shifts as quick as you possibly can. Also, you can see it has 3 different shifter locations, so you can dial that into your vehicle. And it's got a smaller case than most 5-speeds, so it will fit the transmission tunnel of more vehicles. Now, we got this whole setup from American Powertrain, which means we also have the transmission mount, we have the drive shaft yoke, we have the bell housing and all the hardware, we have the shifter handle, and to actuate the clutch, we got one of their Hydromax hydraulic release bearings. That also comes with all the master cylinder and lines and everything to hook that up. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty extensive kit, but that's the magic of what American Powertrain does. They put together kits that will allow you to mount that transmission in virtually any vehicle behind virtually any engine. So, you have no reason not to run a stick. Now, what about a clutch? Well, let's check it out. For that, we need something that will handle all the abuse that we're going to throw at it, but still give us the drivability that we want. And Centerforce has got that dialed in with the SST solid street twin clutch. Now, as you can see, it starts with a billet flywheel, then you add 1 clutch disc, then you put on the floater plate, then you add a 2nd clutch disc, and then finally, you put on the pressure plate. Now, you're probably wondering, what is the benefit of 2 clutch discs? Well, basically, it gives you twice the holding power with no more pedal pressure. So it's a great street and strip setup. For example, this unit will handle up to 925 foot-pounds, but at the same time, give us great drivability, smooth engagement, and long life. Everything you want in a great clutch. So this is the perfect street and strip setup for a hot rod project, and it's going to work great with that 5-speed transmission and that tri-power engine we put together. Okay, now that we have the basic drivetrain laid out, what's the next step? Well, we probably ought to do something with the frame and suspension so we have some place to put all this stuff.
The #1 EFI conversion just got better. With 14 new features, all new electronics, and a complete ecosystem with display options, fuel systems, even transmission control, you can't go wrong with Sniper 2 EFI. To learn more about converting your engine to EFI, visit us at Holley.com.
One thing that every car company wants to do is create a car that becomes so iconic that it becomes the flagship car that defines the company. Now, this is not an easy thing to do, but good examples of this are muscle cars and exotics like the Pontiac Trans Am, the Ford Mustang, and the Lamborghini Countach. But in the sports car world, there is another example that is so rare and so mysterious that most people have never seen one in real life. But virtually everybody knows what it is. The car, the Aston Martin DB5. The DB5 became so famous for its role in the James Bond movies that today anything with a Bond history sells for millions of dollars at auction. And even a normal 65 DB5 will cost you in the ballpark of $500,000 to $700,000 because with less than 1,100 built, there's not a lot of them out there for sale. But once you look past all the hoopla and all the big money, the real gearhead question is, How good of cars were these? Were they fast? Did they handle well? Or was that all just Hollywood smoke and mirrors? Well, as you can see, we've got our hands on a real DB5. So we're going to put it through the paces, take it for a spin, and see if we can't separate some of the facts from the fiction that surrounds these cars. Okay, the first challenge of driving a DB5 is getting in the dang thing. And for somebody over 6 feet tall, that can be a little bit of a challenge. It's all about the legs. The legs have got to go in the right order. So you got to take the first leg and go around the steering wheel like that. Then you pull the other leg in. So you basically are holding the steering wheel with your legs. And then of course you pull the door shut. Tight fit, but we're all in here. Getting out, reverse of what you just did. With a body built out of magnesium alloy by an Italian coach builder, it featured a sloping fastback, accentuated with subtle tail fins and wire wheels. The front treatment is pure 60s sports car with a prominent grille and covered headlights. And the functional hood scoop tells you that there is something special under that hood. The motor is a massive all-aluminum double overhead cam 4-liter straight 6 that's packing 3 SU carbs on the side. Now this adds up to about 300 horsepower and 280 foot-pounds of torque that is capable of propelling this 3,300-pound car from 0 to 60 in 8 seconds and to a top speed of 145 miles an hour. Now that may not seem too impressive today, but back in '65, that was really cooking. Inside the car, you'll find fat leather seats, a wooden steering wheel, and full instrumentation. Now, driving a DB5 is a special experience, with the rumble and the torque of the big straight 6 always ready to do your bidding. Listen to that sound. The 5-speed tranny shifts well. That's awesome, man. And the whole combination just makes you want to drive fast until you realize how expensive this car is. The only downside to the car is how tight it is inside. This definitely wasn't designed for people over 6 feet tall. And when you add it all up, there is no doubt that the Aston Martin DB5 is an awesome vintage sports car with enough power and enough performance and enough charisma to impress everybody that it comes in contact with. And that is the mark of a truly great car. It leaves its mark on the road, it leaves its mark on society, and it leaves its mark on you.
A successful automotive project takes planning and organization, but instead of using an old tablet or notebook, there's the Gearz Deluxe Project Planning Book. This was designed to help you lay out a project, the parts, the tools, costs, and keep it organized with colored tabs, a pouch for receipts, and even a place to attach photos. If you decide to sell the vehicle, it serves as a complete history of what's been done. If you have a project or plan on starting one, the Gearz Project Planning Book is the best way to lay it out and make it happen. Can't get enough Gearz? Make sure to check out the Tales of the Gearhead podcast, where Stacey brings a lifetime of automotive knowledge, friendships, and expertise to the listener. Also, check out our social media channels for updates and videos of Gearz projects, as well as special contests, giveaways, and events. If you have a vehicle you want to enter into What Are You Working On?, go to staceydavid.com and submit it. There's also the online store and tons of other Gearhead information that will encourage you to get out there, build something, and go drive it. And now, Parts Bin.
If you're a fabricator, you know the importance of having a heavy-duty table to work on. With all the pounding and shaping and grinding and welding that you need to do, a light-duty table's not gonna last. And the guys at Inventive Products know that, so they came out with this powered welding table to make your life easier. Take a look. The tabletop features a 3/8-inch thick steel plate that has a 6-inch grid pattern of fixture holes so you can easily clamp your work in place. It also has removable catch trays for slag and a ton of accessories like pivoting clamp hanger and portable fixture rack and lower storage trays. You also have holders for MIG and TIG torches, as well as air tools, hammers, or whatever. But the best part about this table is the electrical adjustable height. With the push of a button, you can lift over 2,000 pounds from a low 33 inches to a tall 48 inches that will save your back when you're doing those intricate TIG welding projects. The table also has presets, so all you have to do is push a button and it'll self-adjust to the height that you need. And you can get these in different sizes to match your budget or your shop size. And there's no question that everybody needs a good shop table or fabrication table. But if you want something that will do this with these kind of options, you're only going to find it at Inventive Products.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Woodward Fabrication, selling quality metalworking equipment since 1966.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from Ed, and he is in Georgia. And his project is a 1952 MGTD. Yeah, you've seen them. So here's what he did. He picked this thing up off of an MG website. And as you can see, he tore this thing apart. He took all the panels off, took the body off, he restored the frame, then he rebuilt the engine, he replaced all the suspension components, so he's doing this thing right, doing a full ground-up build on this. He said some of the wood in the body needed to be replaced, but he got that taken care of. He said the body panels had to be straightened out. Then, of course, he painted everything, did the interior, did the convertible top, did a whole restoration on this thing, and it took around 18 months. So in less than 2 years, he went through and built himself a cool little British sports car. Now, he says these things aren't built for highway driving. He said they're more for tooling around, having some fun. That's exactly what they're for. And if you look back at this picture of the engine, it looks like he's got a Cobra under a cover there. So I think Ed does a little hot rodding on the side. So to recognize such a cool project, we're going to give you one of these super bead rollers from Woodward Fab. As you can see, it is a manual bead roller, has a nice deep throat, and it comes with a whole bunch of dies so you can shape some metal. Then we're also going to give you one of these deluxe project planning books. This will allow you to keep track of everything that you've done on that MG. Then we're going to give you a Gearz fender cover so you can protect that nice paint that you put on that car. And then we're also going to give you a gift card from Holley so you can pick up some Holley products to use on whatever. And we're also going to give you a gift card from Hot Shot Secret so you can pick up some of their products and use it on that MG or whatever you might be driving. And finally, we're going to give you a copperhead die cast. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on this and get your project featured on the show, you got to send it to us. Go to our website, go to Gearz Nation, and submit it into What Are You Working On? The website's also the place to find out more information on any products you may have seen on the show, any Gearz merchandise, and how to join Gearz Nation. You can also see Gearz episodes for free on our YouTube channel and become a channel member. That way you get bonus content and you get early access to all the new episodes. Also, don't forget to check us out on Amazon Prime for Gearz and the Gearz Restoration Series. Finally, don't forget to like us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're a radio person, make sure you check out our podcast, Tales of a Gearhead. All right, that wraps it up for us today. Your assignment for the week is to find yourself a hot rod project or a muscle car or a British sports car or American sports car, just something that you can get out, turn your own wrenches on. You'll be so glad you did. All right, we'll see you next time.